Shalom, and greetings to my brothers in Master Yeshua the Messiah who have his testimony and guard his commandments. Brother Nick here, and today is the 10th day of the second month on Yahweh Elohim's solar calibrated, non-Gregorian, 364-day calendar. We are in the 70th year of Jubilee from when the Israelites crossed into the land of Canaan, and which is also the 120th Jubilee year of Jubilee of man since Adam, according to the book of Jubilees. The Gregorian equivalent for today is April 29th, 2025, and I'm on the island of Cyprus recording and publishing this video. This video is titled The Jubilee Watch. Ezekiel 33:24 has been fulfilled. This is the 6-year anniversary. Today is the 6-year anniversary of the fulfillment. I'm going to be sharing that with you in this video. I'm going to be talking about the beginning of sorrows, how it happened on the same day that the flood of Noah occurred, which was the 17th day of the second month. That's when the sorrows were prophesied on Eve, okay, and the curse on Adam, which is the same day that the flood judgment happened many years later. And then also talking about the second Passover Exodus. So I'll be talking about that in this video. So based on my calculations and others, Roger Young and other people, in my humble opinion, we are in the 70th year of Jubilee of the real Israelites from when they crossed the Jordan. The biological Israelites, not the Jewish people, which is also the 120th year of Jubilee of man. So here is a video that I did over 3 years ago on the Jubilee Year Restored. I then worked on it a little bit more in this video. I did a third video to that series. And then over a year ago, I completely restored it using astroarchaeology, which is basically confirming what I had shared within this previous video several years prior. So check out this video if you don't understand that we're in the Jubilee. It is the year of Jubilee, and it's very important to note that we're in the Jubilee. I'm going to be talking more about that coming up. Why? Okay, the year Jubilee started around September 19th, 2024. It became sanctified on September 28th, 2024, and we have been in a Jubilee Year watch since. So take a look at this video. The Day of Vengeance, Atonement for the Land of Israel, recompenses for Zionism, that's for the cause of Zion. There's going to be recompenses for the Zionist agenda likely, and then that's going to happen during the year of Jubilee. Okay, so a lot of people would expect more action if this were the Jubilee year. That's probably, some people are going to make an objection, hey, why hasn't more happened this year? Well, we're in World War III, okay, and when the nukes fly, then that's really going to change everything. It's going to be too late then to wonder what's going on. The scriptures, the math, the archaeology, and the astroarchaeology prove we are in the 70th Jubilee from when the Israelites entered in and crossed the Jordan right here in this video, which is also the 120th Jubilee from Adam according to the book of Jubilees. But the action in the promised land, it's important to note that during the Jubilee year when they crossed in, the action in the promised land did not occur until the Battle of Jericho, which happened likely in the second month, according to the book of Jasher. The modern book of Jasher is not a great source because a lot of the other dates are wrong, but this one they might actually have correct. So the Battle of Jericho happened during the Jubilee year, and more importantly, the longer that Adonai Yahweh waits to judge the earth, the more gracious he is. So he's going to judge the earth, he's going to judge the land of Israel, he's going to judge the real Israelites. Judgment begins at the house of Yahweh, which is in Jerusalem. He's going to judge. So it was a battle. It was in the Battle of Jericho during the year Jubilee was when the last time the scriptures used the word Jubilee. Okay, that's the last time the word Jubilee was used in the scriptures. Happened in Joshua chapter 5. Also in the Battle of Jericho is the only time in the scriptures the Jubilee blast was made with a horn, okay? There was another time, the first time we see, which is the last time the Jubilee blast is heard. There was another time that a Jubilee blast it was like a Jubilee blast sounded. I'm going to be talking about that in this video. The final last trump of the 7-day march around Jericho was the Jubilee blast. That was the long blast in the book of Joshua. So here you go. The word Yobel, Strong's H3104. It's ram's horn, translated ram's horn, ram, trumpet, cornet. But the word is specifically Jubilee, which is really something because it's never translated really much as Jubilee except in like Leviticus 25. So here you can see in Joshua chapter 6, which is the record of the march around Jericho, that we have the 7 trumpets of ram's horns. Those are Jubilee's horns. And then more, it talks about the long blast. Okay, when they make the long blast of the ram's horn, the Jubilee horn, when you hear the sound of the trumpet, which is the Jubilee trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of that city shall fall down flat. And the people shall ascend up, every man straight before him. So we know that that happened, that last trump happened on the last day of the march on Jericho. Okay, so here you can see that I just read that right here. It shall come to pass when they make a long blast with the Jubilee, Jubilee Korin is what it is, okay? A Korin is a horn, so it's Yobel Korin right here. Yobel Korin, and it's ram's horn, it's Jubilee, it's the Jubilee, okay? It's Yobel Korin. So there you have it. So when they made that big blast, that's when the walls of Jericho went down. That's when the war campaign started. The war started in the Holy Land, in the Promised Land, during the year of Jubilee. And that's how we know it. So anybody that's saying it was not a Jubilee year when they crossed in is completely wrong and false. They have that completely wrong. Okay, so the first time the Jubilee trump was heard, okay, was recorded in the scriptures. The first time the law of first usage was used in Exodus chapter 19, what Yahweh said, instructed Moses, there they shall not an hand touch it, speaking of the mountain, I think, but he shall be surely stoned or shot through, whether it be beast or man, it shall not live when the trumpet, when the Jubilee soundeth long, and they shall come up to the mount. And that's kind of the voice that a lot of like rapture watchers are looking for, which is better probably called the second Exodus. Now this event happened here, I understand, on the 17th day of the 3rd month. Shavuot being the 15th day in the 3rd month. That was the day that they entered in and had a verbal agreement. But Yahweh said he was going to come down on the mount a couple days later on the 3rd day of the week. And that's why I have it as the 17th day of the 3rd month. But that's the law of first usage right here. We see it when Yahweh is going to audibly speak the commandments, and the people were to come up to the edge, basically, of the mountain, or to the barrier that the Israelites were commanded to put around the mountain, so that the people wouldn't come up to the mountain and die, because anything that would touch it was going to die. All right, so there you have that. Now, let me take you back. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. Year 1407 to 1406 BCE. We have the 50th Jubilee of man right here. And it was during this year that the Israelites crossed in. Now, I did my best here to plot when these events that likely happened during this year of the 50th Jubilee of the real Israelites. They crossed in right here. Right here is where they crossed in on the 10th day of the 1st month. They crossed in. And in the 2nd month, there was the 7-day march around Jericho. Now, why do I put that there? I put that there because it makes sense. They kept the Passover. They kept the Feast of Unleavened Bread. They were in the plains of Jericho. The messenger of Yahweh, the angel of Yahweh showed up to Joshua, told him about the march. Okay, but what's important here about this march is that we don't know the date for sure. The book of Jasher has it from the 1st day of the 2nd month through the 7th day of the 2nd month. We don't know for sure, but it makes sense that it happened sometime in the 2nd month. In the 3rd month, I placed the renewing of the covenant on Mount, the blessing and curses and the renewing of the covenant on Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal on the 15th day of the third month. I believe that the Israelites, it was symbolic that they redid this because 40 years prior, their fathers entered into this covenant when they were at Mount Sinai. So here you're at the blessings and the curses, and then Joshua's long day. We know when this happened through astroarchaeology. There was a partial solar eclipse that occurred in the promised land about like 2 days before or 1 day before this Joshua's long day. It was like a day or two before or a day or two after that, so we can figure that out. And then you have in the 5th month the southern victory campaign against the southern kings, and then defeated the northern kings probably in 1 month during the 6th month. And then after that, they still had conquest years that they had to continue. They still had to clean up, but they defeated the kings. And if you defeat the kings, you get the right to the land. So they won the right to the land, but they didn't get their inheritance until they did some more cleanup going forward. Now, those are all the events from the 1st month through the month 6 in the 50th Jubilee. There were other events of war that happened with Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, that happened, and likely they avenged on the Midian, it's not the Midianites in the LXX. I got to update that. I read that it's not the Midianites. It's a different group of people that they had to, I'll take a look at that. Okay, so anyways, that's why, but the war for the Holy Land, didn't happen until the 2nd month in the Jubilee year. So, Hallelujah, for the understanding. So, there you have that, brothers and sisters. So now with that said, I want to bring you to the Psalm 19 solar calibrated non-Gregorian 364-day calendar and biblical events from 2018 to 2029 mapped. This is a calendar I've published for like the last over 6 years, I want to say. Maybe, yeah, going on longer than 6 years now. Actually, 7 years now. 7 years, wow. Okay, so here we are. We're not here, actually. We're, was it April 29th? Yeah, April 29th is today. And it was on this day that Danny Danon in the United States at the UN General Assembly, speaking on behalf of the Jewish state, he fulfilled Ezekiel 33:24. So I'm going to be talking about that. And also, then after I bring you through some old video clips of that, giving you the proof that we're in the prophecy, we are right now in this prophecy, then I'm going to give you information about second Passover and about it being for those who are on the far journey. Yeshua said the Son of Man is like he's on a far journey, so that's something to consider. And then getting down here to the 17th day of the 2nd month. Oh, getting back here to today, the 10th day of the 2nd month, when this prophecy Ezekiel happened, it also turned out that it was the first full day of Noah on the ark with his sons, his daughters-in-laws, his wife, and all of the living creatures. So he was shut in for 7 days. And isn't that something? I thought about this last week. He was there built this huge ark, there with his family, in a safe place, but he had to wait 7 days. Imagine what that's like, being trapped into that thing with the door sealed, okay, with all of those animals, and it had yet to rain, or the waters had yet to come up from underneath. So that is something to consider. What a wait he had, and we've been in a long wait. We've been in a long wait since seeing this Ezekiel 33:24 sign, okay, so that's something to consider. And then after he was on the ark for 7 days, according to the LXX and also according to the Dead Sea Scrolls, 17th day of the 2nd month. I am very well aware the LXX has it as the 27th day of the 2nd month, but because the Dead Sea Scrolls commentary has it as the 17th day of the 2nd month, I'm going to stay with that. And so what was very interesting that I found in about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I'm going to be playing that clip in this video also, is that it was on this day that the birth pangs, this is the day that Adam and Eve sinned. Yahweh made vicarious atonement for them. He made coverings of animal skins for them. And this is the day that the curses were given to Eve in childbearing, and the other curses to her, that she'd want to rule over her husband. Her desire would be for her husband, and he would rule over her. And then also on, Adam was given his stuff, his curses on the soil, and evicted from and his work toil. And this was when Adam and Eve were exiled from the garden on this day. The curses were given, and one of the curses was pain in the sorrows in childbearing. And that's why I call this the beginning of sorrows, because guess what? When it was time for all that sin was full, and it was time for the earth to be judged with the flood water, the judgment came on the same day that Adam and Eve broke the law. Okay, they sinned and ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So that's really something to consider on the 17th day of the second month. I'm going to be providing that information for you of that in this video. Okay, so now let me go ahead. We're going to be getting into these videos. Again, this video says 5 years, but it's really almost 6 years old now. In like a couple of days, this will change from being 5 years old to being 6 years old. Okay, that's how long this event happened. Prophecy fulfilled at the United Nations, and all the Christian Zionists have no idea what the prophecy was, what it means. This video, it had like 10,000 views in the first like couple of days, and then the Google algorithm just completely destroyed it. I've since used this video about 5 times. This is my 6th time playing it. I made another video here about this being fulfilled because it was so important. And then the last time I shared this video, I did 2 more videos in between this video and this video. And in this video, this says 2 years ago, but it's really 3 years ago, because it says 3-year anniversary. And today is now the 6-year anniversary of this event that I'm going to be playing for you. So now let me go ahead and share the clip from this video right here I'm going to be playing a part of these 19 minutes right now, and I'm going to share that event with you. And hopefully you're blessed by the information in this video so you can know for certain. So even though you know that the door is shut, that we're in it, and we're waiting like Noah, and we're waiting for that flood judgment, we're waiting for that judgment to happen because sin is at its full. Now, this is going to give you complete understanding, knowing the times that we're in, that you can trust what you're thinking, what you're vibing, what you're feeling, and know for sure. We have the Jubilee count for sure. We also have this information. So let me play this video for you. Ezekiel 33 verse 21, and it came to pass in the 12th year of our captivity, in the 10th month, in the 5th day of the month, that one has escaped out of Jerusalem, and came to me, saying, the city is smitten, and now the hand of Yahweh was upon me in the evening. So this is the city being smitten, okay, is when the Babylonians came a second time and destroyed Jerusalem and the temple. The first time the Babylonians came in 597 BC, they took Ezekiel and like 3,000 people out, and I think one of the kings, and they brought them over to Babylon. So Ezekiel is in Babylon captivity, under captivity of the Babylonians. So when it says that in the 10th month and the 5th day of the month the city was smitten, it took some time for them to get to Ezekiel, because the city was smitten on the 10th day of the 5th month. That one that had escaped out of Jerusalem, they escaped on the 10th day of the 5th month, said unto him, the city is smitten. Now the hand of Yahweh was upon me in the evening, afore he that was escaped came. So we see this word escape. That's interesting. And he opened my mouth until he came unto me in the morning, and my mouth was opened, and I was no more dumb. Then the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, they that inhabit the wastes of the land of Israel speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land, but we are many. The land was given us for inheritance. Guys, that verse that you just see highlighted in purple that I just read, verse 24, this was literally fulfilled at the United Nations by the Jewish state of modern Israel, which isn't really Israel, it's the Jewish state that's using the name Israel. It was literally used by him in the United Nations, they claimed the Abraham covenant, saying Abraham was one, and he had inherited the land, but we are 15 million people. The land is given to us for inheritance. And he brought out his little Torah, and he read the Abrahamic covenant and falsely laid claim to the land of Israel on behalf of the Jewish state, using the Abrahamic covenant. Guys, this was fulfilled, but no one's talking about it. It's absolutely crazy. So now let me go ahead and play that clip for you of Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 24, prophecy fulfilled. Before I share with you the video footage of the fulfilled prophecy, I first want to prepare you for what to expect. I use the words verbatim and word for word to describe the fulfillment, and I literally mean verbatim and word for word, as this prophecy is about the literal words of what a people or person, representative of a people, were going to say and speak. Here is the verse that we will be looking at. Son of man, they that inhabit those wastes of the land of Israel speak, saying, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land, but we are many. The land is given us for inheritance. So now let me go ahead and point out to you some of the points of this prophecy, so when you watch the video, you'll recognize the fulfillment. So again, here's Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 24. The first point that I want to point out as we examine this verse is that Yahweh does not identify these people as Israelites. Rather, they are identified as being inhabitants of the waste of the land of Israel. So this word, the Hebrew word for inhabitor, or that inhabit, is yashab. And also that can mean to set or settle down. So literally they could be called settlers. And actually, that is actually a terminology given to the Jewish people who now live in the West Bank, the land that was captured after the 67 war. That used to be former Jordan or now Palestine or former Palestinian land. They settled in that land, that zone, and they call themselves settlers. So here's a Google search for Israeli settlers West Bank, and this is page 2, and here you have a Bloomberg article. Here's the article right here from November 19th, 2019 regarding Israeli settlements. Almost a tenth of Israel's Jews live in East Jerusalem and the West Bank outside their country's recognized borders. The population of Jewish settlers in the West Bank has grown 4 times faster than Israel's itself since 1995. Settlers regard themselves as inhabiting land that is rightfully theirs. Sounds familiar like what I'm going to bring you through. So here you go. You get to know who the settlers are. They are Jewish people that are living in the West Bank. Another Google search that I did, this from the New York Times article is written from November 18th, 2019. So Bloomberg did one, they did one. This article, wow, like within a day of the Bloomberg article, they're all writing about this stuff. What are they writing about here? Let's take a look at the settler here in this one, okay? More than 400,000 Israeli settlers now live in the West Bank alongside more than 2.6 million Palestinians. So literally that right there is a fulfillment. It is a literal fulfillment of just a little tiny part of this verse. Wait until you see the video footage coming up. The second point that I want to point out about this prophecy is that even though Yahweh does not call them Israelites or Judahites, these settlers or inhabitants will claim to be descendants of Abraham. They speak saying Abraham was one and he inherited the land. So here they claim to be of Abraham. Yet Yahweh does not call them Israelites or Judahites, but rather they are identified as being inhabitants. These inhabitants are going to boast in their population size, as I just read. That is point number 3. They say, but we are many. And lastly, they are going to use the Abrahamic covenant which is the covenant of the promised land, to attempt to claim rightful ownership of the land via inheritance, as if they are the Israelites. It says, but we are many, the land is given us for inheritance. That is what's going on in this whole prophecy right here. And the literal words of those prophecies of Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 24, was literally spoken verbatim, word for word, at the United Nations Security Council on April 29th, 2019, by the United Nations Ambassador of Israel, Danny Danon. Here is a screenshot of CBN News. He says, this is the deed to our land. Israel's ambassador takes out Bible at UN to prove Jewish people's claim to Israel. And I want to say, unbeknown to Danny, he fulfilled the prophecy, and I am certain this wasn't his intent, because this fulfillment sparks judgment on the inhabitants of those that inhabit the wastes of the land of Israel. And it's going to bring judgment on Jerusalem. So now let's go ahead and watch the video of him, Danny Danon, unbeknowingly fulfilling Bible prophecy that is going to bring judgment. So this is a 3-minute clip, and I'm going to provide some commentary as we go. So here's Danny Danon, the UN representative for the state of Israel. He is speaking, and he is literally representing the inhabitants of the waste of the land of Israel. And he is going to speak. And what is he going to say? The first thing he's going to do, he's going to try to establish a foundation for his argument that Abraham was one and he inherited the land. That means that it was given to him. There was a covenant made, the Abrahamic covenant of the land. He then, next, is going to say that they are many.
Today, I will present to you the 4 pillars that prove the case for Jewish ownership of the land of Israel. The first pillar is the Bible. The Jewish people's rightful ownership of Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, is well documented throughout the Old Testament and beyond. The second pillar is history. The Jewish claim to the land of Israel is confirmed time and again, not just with Jewish history, but with the history of the world. The third pillar is a legal claim. Our rights to the land are codified in international law, including in the documents that founded this very body. And the fourth pillar is the pursuit of international peace and security. A stronger and safer Israel means a stronger and safer world. It is through these 4 pillars, Mr. President, that I will provide you with the answers to your questions. Let us discuss our first pillar of proof, the Bible. The Jewish people's right to the land of Israel is mentioned over a dozen times in the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, which includes the Torah, the Old Testament, the prophets, and the writings. In the book of Genesis, the very first book of the Old Testament, God says to Abraham, and I will read that in Hebrew.
So he's about to claim the Abrahamic covenant that the land was given to Abraham.
והקמתי את בריתי ביני ובינך ובין זרעך אחריך לדורותם לברית עולם, להיות לך לאלוהים ולזרעך אחריך, ונתתי לך ולזרעך אחריך את ארץ מגוריך, את כל ארץ כנען, לאחוזת עולם, והייתי להם לאלוהים. And I will now read the translation in English. And I will establish my covenant between me and you and your descendants after you throughout their generations for an everlasting covenant. And I will give to you and to your descendants after you all the land of Canaan for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God.
Okay, Abraham was one, and he inherited the land.
This is the deed to our land. From the book of Genesis to the Jewish exodus from Egypt, to receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai, and to the realization of God's covenant in the Holy Land of Israel, the Bible paints a consistent picture. The entire history of our people and our connection to Eretz Israel begins right here. It is not just the Hebrew Bible or the 15 million Jews worldwide that...
Okay, did you catch that? 15 million Jews worldwide, he claims. He's claiming like that is a large number. There's 50 million people in the state of California alone. So now he's saying that we're many. Remember how it goes. Abraham was one and he inherited the land. We are many. 15 million many. And then it says the land is given to us for an inheritance.
It accepts this right. It is accepted across all three monotheistic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. The Quran itself accepts the divine deed of the Jewish people to the land of Israel.
So he is saying that the land is given to them for an inheritance, the divine deed. What you just witnessed is Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 24. And this is proof that we are in the days of the Son of Man. Remember, Ezekiel is the Son of Man title, and this prophecy was given to him. The fact that this prophecy was fulfilled, word for word, verbatim, that was prophesied, 2,700 years ago? Danny Dannon attempted to do. He went to try to lay claim to the land for his settlers, the inhabitants of the wastes of the land of Israel. But his actions and his words are only going to bring the judgment of the prophecy. So what you all just witnessed was a fulfillment of a 2,700-year-old prophecy to ensure you all of the time period we are in. Even more interesting to note that that prophecy was fulfilled on April 29th, 2019, which when I look on the restored and official Enoch calendar that I publish, it was the 10th day of the second month, which happened to be the first day that Noah was shut in on the ark by Yahweh Elohim, and then the flood judgment came. So again, Noah was shut in on this day. The door was shut, and this was the first day that he was on the ark waiting for the judgment to occur. And so we too, just like Noah, appear to be in a time period of imminent and impending judgment on the earth. When will it happen? No one knows for certain. And that is why we're instructed to watch and pray to be accounted worthy to escape all things that are coming on the face of the earth and stand before the Son of Man. So I hope that you liked that video on that fulfillment. We are in it. And here now I want to play some clips of the second Passover videos that I have. One from 5 years ago, one from 4 years ago, about the good man on the long journey. And that second Passover is for the man on the long journey. Yeshua said he's like on the long journey. And also in this video right here, I make a correlation that second Passover rapture escape type thing. It's a really an escape probably. If there is, y'all willing, we hope so. You know, I can't promise it, and I'm not going to promise that there is. I hope there to be. And then Babylon falls, which is something that happens, I believe. It's Isaiah 21 is tied to Passover and possibly tied to second Passover. So I'll be playing a clip from that video right now for you so you know that. And that second Passover coming up, Jerusalem time, May 3rd. Second Passover for everybody in the States is going to be May 2nd. You guys are a day ahead this year. Okay? Everybody in the States and most everybody in the Americas. All right, so let me go ahead and play that clip, and I'll get to the next one after this. But this is very important information for you if you haven't seen or heard about this information. Also in the book of Revelation, it talks about the destruction of Babylon. And here in Isaiah 21, it is also talking about when Babylon falls. And it appears Babylon is going to fall on Passover. Whether it be the first Passover or the second Passover, it appears that it's going to be a Passover, and I'm going to go ahead and share that with you right now. Isaiah chapter 21, verse 1 through 6. The burden of the desert of the sea, as whirlwinds in the south pass through, so it cometh from the desert, from a terrible land. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously, and the spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam, besiege, O Media, all thy sighing thereof have I made to cease. Therefore are my loins filled with pain. Pangs have taken hold upon me, as the pangs of a woman that travaileth. I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it. My heart panted, fearfulness affrighted me. The night of my pleasure, desire, hath he turned into fear unto me. Prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, arise ye princes, and anoint the shield. For thus hath the master said unto me, go set a watchman, let him declare what he sees. So this right here is the first 6 verses of Isaiah 21, and it's all to do with the destruction of Babylon falling. So now let me go ahead and comment on these verses. A grievous vision is declared unto me. The treacherous dealer dealeth treacherously. The spoiler spoileth. Go up, O Elam. Besiege, O Media. This is modern day Iran and Persia. All thy sign thereof have I made to cease. So, besides there being national mourning in the country of Iran for Qasem Soleimani, the general, he was assassinated, and there was national mourning for him. But also there have been really strong economic sanctions on Iran that has been almost choking them out. And these economic sanctions that were making Iran sigh in pain because of the amount of economic pain, it was an economic war by the U.S., putting all these sanctions on them. The economic pain and pressure of these sanctions were just mitigated by Iran with their new agreement with China. Iran's new economic agreement with China for $400 billion, and it's a 25-year agreement, basically bypassing the U.S. sanctions and being able to sell their oil and also get investment and to relieve them of their sighing pain that they've been going through. So this is, in a sense, could be an interpretation of causing their pain, their sighing, to cease. Now that deal happened in 2021. We are now in 2025. They could be attacked. I mean, we don't know what could happen. They could be attacked this Saturday during the negotiations again, just like the bomb blew off last Saturday during negotiations, and then all hell could break loose. So we don't know. Verse 3, therefore are my loins filled with pain. Pangs have taken hold upon me as the pangs of a woman that travaileth. I was bowed down at the hearing of it. I was dismayed at the seeing of it. Now regarding the sorrows or the pangs of the woman in travaileth, that is in verse 3 here, we know from the Dead Sea Scroll scriptures that Eve's sorrows were put on her. That curse of the sorrows of the woman in travail was put on her on the 17th day of the second month. Passover is on the night of the 14th day of the second month. So it's very close right here compared. Very important to understand that. Verse 4, my heart panted, fearfulness affrighted me. The night of my pleasure, desire, hath he turned into fear unto me. So the Passover, it happens at night. Now that word for night, it might mean dawn and it might mean dusk. But there's no other night of pleasure or desire like the Passover. This is my 14th year of celebrating Passover. Hallelujah. And Yeshua, this was his desire. As in Luke 22 verse 15, Messiah Yeshua said, with desire, I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. So that word for desire, you should look up that word for desire. It's really strong feelings like, even like lust. The word for lust is also translated from that word desire. With desire have I desired. He said this word twice. It was so important to him to fulfill that, to have that meal with him where he instituted his new covenant with us. Hallelujah. Like I said, this is a desire of almost any believer out there, being able to stay up late with your children, being able to stay up late all night thinking about what he did for you, celebrate the fact that your sin has been paid for and that you are now waiting for the day of redemption. I mean, this is something to consider regarding that, and it's just a joyous night. And so this is a night of pleasure, or a night of our desire. And on this night, possibly, it's going to turn into fear. We'll see. Prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, arise ye princes, and anoint the shield. So on Passover, one eats and drinks. That's the whole purpose, is to eat the bread and drink the wine. Eat and drink right here. And that happens on Passover. Not only that, Messiah Yeshua instructed Peter and John in Luke chapter 22, verse 8. He said, quote, "Go and prepare us the Passover that we may eat." And what does it say in verse 5 of Isaiah 21? Prepare the table. Just like you're going to go out, they told them to prepare the Passover. It says, watch in the watchtower. And where did John and Peter have to go prepare the Passover meal? In the upper room. And an upper room is similar to a watchtower. So this is something to consider. And what time is it going to be when this all goes down? It's going to be wartime. 144,000 men, they go out to war. Those are men of war. Okay, David's army was 288,000. Here you have 144,000. So it looks like it's wartime. Anoint the shield, ye princes, and that's what time it could be. For thus hath the master said unto me, go set a watchman, and let him declare what he seeth. And what does a watchman do? Watch. And where does the watchman watch out of? So watch. And so many times regarding the Passover, Messiah Yeshua instructed Peter, James, and John to watch. So to me, it looks like this event of Isaiah chapter 21 is going to happen on a Passover. Now, is it going to be first Passover or second Passover? I don't know. So on the night of Passover, we are told to watch. But also, like I just said, it is also the night of the thief. And that thief was Judas Iscariot. And also we have a clue of the cock crowing, which I'll talk about coming up in Mark 13 down here about the cock crowing, because the cock crowed with Peter. And then also second Passover, as I just said, was is for a man taking a far journey or had touched, I believe, a dead corpse. So Mark 14, 32 to 38, and they came to a place which was named Gethsemane, and he said it, and Yeshua saith to his disciples, sit ye here while I pray. And he taketh with him Peter, James, and John, and began to be sore amazed, and was very heavy. These are like almost like sorrows. Well, and saith unto them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, okay, unto death. So remember, he prophesied just a couple of days before this about the beginning of sorrows. Is the beginning of sorrows going to happen on the night of second Passover and kick off from here? I don't know. Tarry ye here and watch. And he went forth a little while and fell on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, Abba, Father, all things are possible unto thee. Take away this cup from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what thou wilt. And he cometh and findeth them sleeping, and saith to Peter, Simon, sleepest thou? Couldst thou not watch 1 hour? Watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit is truly ready, but the flesh is weak. Now, there's going to be an hour of temptation that's going to come upon the whole earth. What do you think about that verse of what I just said to you about this? There's going to be an hour of temptation that is going to come upon the whole earth. When do you think the temptation was going to be? On the night of Passover. Luke 12, 35 through 40. Messiah Yeshua said, let your loins be girded and your lights burning, and ye yourselves like men unto like men unto that wait for their master when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. Now, blessed are those servants whom the master, when he findeth, shall come them watching. So this might be for people on the second Passover. Verily I say unto you, he shall gird himself and make him sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. So we might have first Passover. Also, we might have second Passover. And then the third watch could be Shavuot, festival of the first fruits of the wheat harvest. Blessed are those servants. And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken through. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not. So Messiah Yeshua referred to the thief, and the thief we know was Judas Iscariot. And in Mark 14:48, when they came for him, Yeshua answered and said unto them, Are ye come out as against a thief, with swords and with staves to take me? So he referred to himself as against a thief because they had swords to try to get him. But Yeshua here in Revelation 16:15 says, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. See, on that night, right after Mark 14:48, right down here, Mark 14:51 through 52, and there followed a certain young man having a linen cloth cast about his naked body, and the young men laid hold on him, and he left the linen cloth and fled from them naked. When did that event happen? On the night of Passover. When did the thief come? The thief was Judas Iscariot. When did he come? On the night of Passover. What did Messiah tell us to do on Passover? To watch. Watch, 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 watch. Okay, now, again, the good man of the house, the good man went on a long journey. In Numbers chapter 9, verse 8 through 11, talks about it's for someone goes on a long journey, they could celebrate second Passover. So that could also be a fulfillment. Might be a fulfillment for some people, might be a fulfillment for everybody. But it looks like there's a couple of watches that he's coming possibly. Who knows? Mark 13:33 through 37. This is before all of these other events I've read to you in Mark. He said, Take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is. For the Son of Man is a man taking a far journey, who left his house and gave authority to his servants and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. Watch ye therefore, and know when the master of the house cometh, at even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning, lest suddenly he come find you sleeping. And what I say unto you, I say unto all, watch. So this is regarding the porter, okay? The porter is the end-time Elijah type servant. As far as watching, okay, what night is he watching on? Well, Peter, he said, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. And that cock crowing happened when? On Passover, the night of Passover. And in Mark 14:62, when Messiah Yeshua was speaking to the high priest or the high priests, Messiah Yeshua said, I am, and ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. What day? When did he say that? He said that at the night of Passover, in the very early morning of Passover. He said that this could be a prophecy that they're going to see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. When would that be? On Passover, the night that was prophesied, or in the early mornings of Passover at dawn, just like in Isaiah 21. It says the night of my pleasure, but it also could be the dawn of my pleasure, because now the night is over, but the dawn of my pleasure has turned into fear. It's going to be a pretty fearful thing when they all see Master Yeshua the Messiah coming in the clouds of heaven, sitting at the right hand of power. It's going to be really crazy situation, okay? So it will be fearful. And we're going to see Babylon destroyed, a lot of other stuff going on. So again, Luke 21, with desire have I desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. This is what he said. But when you see desire and desire, these words twice, same word used twice in a sentence, it really, really means something. And he says he will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God shall come. He said this on the night of Passover. Will the kingdom of Elohim come on Passover night? We're going to be watching, and if not, we'll be watching second Passover. Through Matthew 26 through 30. And as they were eating, Yeshua took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, "Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." And when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. So, what hymn did they possibly sing? They could have sang Psalm 106. They could have sang Psalm 136. And they also could have sang the Song of Moses. And the Song of Moses was sung after the festival of unleavened bread, after the Exodus, after they left from Pharaoh and they were delivered from Pharaoh. So in Revelation chapter 15, verse 3, in the book of Revelation, I'm tying it back to the book of Revelation theme at the beginning of this video, we see that those that get the victory, Nikao is the word in the Greek, that they sing the Song of Moses and the Song of the Lamb. So the Song of Moses came at the end of unleavened bread, but it had to do with the Passover, and also the Song of the Lamb. And we know that the Lamb was slain around Passover. So now that I gave you that information on Babylon falling on Passover, which is likely in the Passover return, possibly the second Passover of the ban on the long journey, now I'm going to give you the final information. We already all know about Noah's Ark, and it was an escape of the judgment that was coming on the earth for its sin. Now, I already explained at the beginning of the video about this, but here I'm going to share information from you from 5 years ago when I was in the hospital getting this surgery for this infection. And brothers and sisters, I now have, today as I speak this, Yahweh is gracious and may he be gracious and merciful. I have cellulitis in my foot. I was supposed to go to the hospital today for IV. I haven't had an infection in over 5 years, but it looks like I'm going to be hospitalized again possibly. And here we go. So anyways, yeah, so I just got scar revision surgery on this like 3 days ago, and then I scratched my foot, and I can't believe it. I cut my left foot. I didn't get an infection. I scratched my right foot at the same time. Got a small, and then I got an infection, so I got to go deal with that. But brothers and sisters, I want to make this video before I head out to the hospital for you, so you guys are all prepped and prepared. So here you go is a clip about the beginning of sorrows. This is about the beginning of sorrows, of me finding this footage that this happened on the same day. I was really shocked about it, about the judgment happened. Now, if nothing happens here at this time period that we're in, we're going to be looking ahead to the 15th day of the third month, which is Shavuot, obviously, duh. Okay, and then also the 17th day of the third month, which is when the Jubilee ram's horn was heard. The first time the Jubilee shout was heard was then. So law of first usage, that happened on the 17th day of the third month, just after Shavuot. So I'll make another video about that coming up if need be. But now let me go ahead and play you this on the beginning of sorrows. And we could see beginning of sorrows happen. And it's very important to note, everybody, that in Deuteronomy 32, Yahweh Elohim, on the real biological Israelites, it says that Yahweh is going to start a fire from beneath, and that basically it's going to, it's going to stop the defense of the real biological Israelites, and then their enemies are going to see it and they're going to attack. Now, I doubt it's speaking of the Jewish state, because of the Jewish state does not have a majority of Israelites in it. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is that I doubt that they're actually the Israelite state. I don't believe that they're biological fulfillment. They're man trying to fulfill that prophecy, which is false. I actually believe it's Edom, majority Edomites there. But anyways, that's for another video on genetics and all of that. So let me go ahead and play this clip. Hopefully you're blessed by the information. Before the woman travails, she brings forth, before her birth pains came, a man-child is delivered. I believe that to be this event that's coming up. And so if we know when she travails, the woman, or when that was supposed to happen according to the prophecy, then we would do that. And here we have it on the 17th day of the second month was when Eve was deceived by the serpent and ate of the fruit, and then she was cursed to bring with sorrows in childbearing. And this happens to be the same day of the flood judgment happened. So let's go ahead and take a look at my video from last year, a segment of my video from last year, where I literally, the Ruach showed me this in real time regarding Eve, the day that Eve was, that the sorrows were prophesied to happen. So here we are in the book of Jubilees, chapter 3. And after the completion of 7 years, which he had completed there, 7 years exactly, and in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, the serpent came and approached the woman, and the serpent said to the woman, "Has Yahweh commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden?" And she said to it, "Of all of the fruit of the trees of the garden Yahweh said us to eat. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh said, you shall not eat thereof, neither shall you touch it, lest you die." And the serpent said to the woman, "You shall not surely die, for Yahweh does know that on the day that you eat thereof, your eyes shall be opened, and you will be as gods, and you will know good and evil." And the woman saw the tree, that it was agreeable and pleasant to the eye, and its fruit, and it was good for food, and she took thereof and ate. And when she had first covered her shame with fig leaves, she gave thereof to Adam, and he ate, and his eyes were opened, and he saw that his wife was naked. And he took fig leaves and sewed them together, and made an apron for himself, and covered his shame. And Yahweh cursed the serpent, and was wroth with it forever. And he was wroth with the woman, because she listened to the voice of the serpent and did eat. And he said to her, "I will greatly multiply your sorrows." Oh, your sorrows and your pains. The beginning of sorrows and the beginning of pains happened on this day. The Ruach just showed me this as we're reading this. We've been looking for the beginning of sorrows. I have a video called "The Beginning of Sorrows Rapture." Okay, before she travails, she brings forth. Before her pains came, the man-child is delivered, and the pains of the woman were literally given on this day, the 17th day of the second month. "And your return shall be unto your husband, and he will rule over you." And that's as it is still to this day. And to Adam also he said, "Because you have eaten, listen unto the voice of your wife. You have eaten of the tree which I commanded you, and that you shall not eat thereof. Cursed be the ground for your sake. Thorns and thistles shall it bring forth to you, and you shall eat your bread in the sweat of your face, till you return to the earth, from whence you were taken. For earth you are, and unto the earth you shall return." And he made for them coats of skin, and clothed them, and sent them forth from the Garden of Eden. And on that day Adam went forth from the garden. He offered a sweet savor and offerings of offering, frankincense, galbanum, steak, and spices. In the morning, with the rising of the sun, on the 17th day appears, from the day when he covered his shame. And on that day was closed the mouth of all beasts, and of cattle, and of birds, and whatever walks, and whatever moves, so that they could no longer speak, for they had all spoken one with another, with one lip, and with one tongue. So animals and humans, I believe, all used to be able to interact in the garden. So what's interesting is the timing of this. With that being said, here it is. It was the 17th day of the second month. But we see the beginning of sorrows happen, her pains, her sorrows. It happens to be the same day of the flood judgment. So this was the day that the creation fell. Not only that, this was the day that Yahweh destroyed and judged the creation with the flood. And does this set precedence? Does this mean this Yahweh is a Elohim of memorials. He fulfills things cyclically to prove who he is, and memorials are very important, which is why I created this biblical anniversary spreadsheet on the proper calendar. The only calendar, the way that we have it calibrated, is the correct way. I've proven that out. Hallelujah. Could this be the beginning of sorrows? But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until that day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, and took them all away. The festival of the good man is second Passover and second unleavened bread, because the good man went on a far journey. And the second Passover is for those who have gone on a far journey. And like I said in my previous video, it has not, in my previous second Passover video that I just filmed, it has not been fulfilled. Which we are called to watch. Two then are going to be in the field, one taken, the other left. Two women are going to be grinding at the mill, one taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Adonai doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched, and suffered not his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh. So with that being said, brothers, we are in it. We are in this Jubilee time period. Again, war happened in the second month. That's something to consider. Then we got to look at the 15th day of the third month, the blessings and the curse. Now, the curse, you might say, that's Deuteronomy 28. But there's another curse in the Song of Moses when the judgment's going to happen. He's going to cause like a fire from underneath, which could be a volcano or some sort of natural catastrophe, volcano, it appears. If that happens, wherever that happens, your judgment is coming on. Now, again, Babylon looks like they fall on Passover, the night of Passover from Isaiah 21. So that's something to consider too. So that's why we're looking at second Passover now for that event to happen. Okay, so I hope that you all count. Pray you're all counted worthy. I hope that you pray you're counted worthy to escape. Stand before the Son of Man. I hope that you're guarding the commandments, keeping the commandments of life, keeping those 10 commandments, plus the new commandment to love the brethren. Of course, we have all of the other law, which is very important. You have the law of Noah, which is the covenant of Noah, which is to eat only boiled flesh. So that's something to consider. That actually happened. That covenant looked like that was made on the 15th day of the third month, which is the same day that the Israelites entered into verbal covenant relationship with Yahweh Elohim. And that's when they had the blood sprinkled on them the next morning before or something. So that's something to consider. So this is our first watch, and then we got to watch in the third month, and then go from there. So brothers and sisters, I hope that you're blessed. And I'm signing off. And shalom to my brothers and sisters out there who have the testimony of Messiah Yeshua. Guard his commandments. Shalom to you.